Hi, welcome to Real Food Revival. Today we're going to make Southern gluten-free vegan tarts. Now, with that said, I'm going to show you two ways to make these. They can be made for the people in the crowd who don't have any kind of dietary restrictions. The lemon curd remains the same. The only thing that's going to change is the crust. You don't need to hear me talk all day. Let's get into the recipe. Okay, I have gone ahead and assembled everything that you're going to need for this, but the recipe is provided a link to a printable form of the recipe. And as promised, I am not using ingredients that are out there, that are difficult to find. We're starting with an almond flour. This is Greenwise. It's available at Publix. You could use, I think, Bob's Red Mill. There's a lot of different brands, whatever you want. Just make sure that you get the finely ground. This is a 1-to-1 flour. I believe this is King Arthur, but you can use, again, whichever one that you like. So we're going to put the two flours together. Next comes melted coconut oil. That's taking the place of butter. And I want to mention that when I say coconut oil, that means refined coconut oil. It's no flavor of coconut, and it does not have the scent of coconut. So you're good. And again, this is not something you're going to have to search all over the world for. I am using Publix brand coconut oil. This says expeller pressed. That's kind of the same thing, generally speaking. If you're ever sure, just kind of sniff the jar. So these, again, not hard to find. So now we're going to add the coconut oil. And again, this is for the gluten-free crust. It honestly, it tastes good, but you know, if you have somebody in the crowd that what we're going to use for them, I have good old Keebler. Again, I don't know, maybe other brands make them, but I'm just going to make a couple of them with these pre-made grahams. You can make your own graham cracker crust if you prefer. And maple syrup, whatever brand you like. And again, the quantities are going to be listed below. Then we're going to do a pinch, which literally a pinch of sea salt, and some vanilla extract. I believe that in my recipe I say it's a teaspoon or a half teaspoon, but I'm not big on measuring that. I kind of do it to flavor. Also, I like adding a little bit of almond oil, or almond extract, I'm sorry. And I just like the flavor that it gives. Then you're just going to mix this up. Just blend it like if you ever made a graham cracker crust, that's essentially what we're making here. This is a graham cracker crust, but it's gluten-free and it's vegan. This is all plant-based. I would almost defy anybody in the crowd who is not gluten-free or vegan, and I realize because of the experiences that we've all had with those in most cases, it doesn't make you envision something that you actually want to eat. This one is very good. But again, I'm going to make a couple of these using the pre-made Keebler. And this is what you want. You want it blended. Just blended. Almost looks like a cookie dough. So when you've got it at this cookie dough texture, I have some little tartlet pans that I bought. And by the way, you can make this in a full-size tart pan if you want. I got these on Amazon. I have no idea what I paid for them. But anyway, I also keep a bowl of the same 1-to-1 flour off to the side, and you're going to see why in a second. It's just a trick that I picked up years ago to make pressing these in evenly a little bit easier. So what I do, I get, you know, a portion of the dough, enough, actually more than I know I'm going to actually need. You can take a little bit of coconut oil, run it around the pan a bit, dip it in the flour just to keep it from sticking. I use the one inside the other to press it out and get a good shape. And it's going to squeeze out the sides, that's okay, but if you get it in here kind of evenly, you're going to see that will work well. Then give it a little twist and tug gently. Just twist and tug. If that happens to you, that's okay. Just fill it in with your thumb, that's fine. Then I take a knife and I let these excesses fall off. I'm using a half cookie sheet. It works. And repeat. Put what I know is an excess amount. Try to spread it somewhat evenly on the bottom. And then, again, just press gently, evenly, and gently twist and pull. And then take a knife and clean the edges off. Gives you a nice little edge on there. And if you have another method, obviously use it. I mean, this is just what works for me. And it's not critical that it be done exactly the way I'm showing you. I mean, you may have something. If you do, please feel free to enlighten all of us. Now, you can also, for sure, what you can do with these, you can put the crust in there and you can press it in with your fingertips. I'm not talented enough to get it in there evenly. I end up with bald spots or thick spots. So using the method that I'm showing you works well for me, and I like getting that clean edge on there. All right, so now we got these done. You get 8. You actually could probably get closer to 10, but I happen to have 8 tart shells. Preheated the oven to 350 degrees. And we're just going to pop those in the oven. You're looking at about 10 to 12 minutes in my oven. Really a better gauge is the brownness, which we'll show you when they come out. So now we're going to make the lemon curd, which is actually pretty easy. And I have to tell you, it's one of the best lemon curds I've ever had. I have an electric juicer here. I mean, this is just something that I picked up on Amazon, Elite Gourmet. It calls for 1 cup of fresh lemon juice. This does have measurements on the side. I think a cup is about 230 or 40 milliliters. So I usually just go to just below the 300 on mine. Maybe you have one that actually shows the proper measurements. We have 2 lemons here. What I do with this, it's the zest. Now, you can take a zester, like a microplane if you want, but because we have to strain this, I've done it both ways, it works. If that's what you have, that's what you can use. I do something a little bit kind of, maybe you're going to think it's odd, but I peel the skin off and I just, I take a fine layer. And the only reason I do it this way, you get the same zest flavor that you need, but what I find that it does is it's a little easier when I go to strain it. Now, but again, this stuff is not written in stone. If it's easier for you to take a microplane and go over and do this, please do it the way that works for you. But essentially, you need 2 lemons, the peel or the zest. What I do when I have all that, I come in and I cut it into fine pieces. Just, don't go crazy with it. Just something that you can spread the flavor with a little bit better. But, you don't have to have a microplane. You can do this, almost any kitchen has a peeler and a knife. Now for the lemons themselves, the juice, cut it in half. What I like about the electric juicer is it just kind of gets rid of most of the seeds for me, and even though I'm going to strain it, it just makes life a little bit easier. And we'll see, because some lemons are juicier than others, so who knows, I may have to use more than 2 lemons. I think in the recipe I say 3 to 5 because it can vary. And I am going to need 1 more lemon. I don't need the zest, I just need the juice. All right, and I think that, I don't know if you can see that, but we're right at 300 milliliters, so that's where we want to be. Okay, so we have the lemon zest in a small saucepan. We're going to turn the heat to medium. I have an electric stove, for medium for me is about a 5. And we're going to add the cornstarch, the water, and you're going to whisk it. You're really just trying to liquefy the cornstarch, and that's why you take a cold pan and you got the heat just started now. And to that, we're going to add our lemon juice that we just squeezed and the sugar, and stir this up. And this whole process will take about 8 to 10 minutes, depending, on your stove and conditions in your kitchen. You don't have to sit and stir it the whole time. I wouldn't leave the room and come back later. But, if you've ever made a gravy, you don't want this to thicken and turn into a blob, but, let it kind of do its own thing. And in the meantime, what you can get ready is you're going to need a bowl or a cup. I use one of these giant measuring cups because I can then, strain it into there, and then I can use this cup to pour it right into the tarts. Okay, so I think you can see, it's hard to show you the consistency here, but, it's just kind of getting jello-y. So that's what we're looking for. Now we're going to come over here and we're going to add the coconut oil. Again, this is in place of butter. It does not taste like coconut. We're going to add the milk. We're going to add a pinch of salt. And stir this up. You don't have to melt the coconut oil because obviously the coconut, it melts quickly. And it's going to melt right in here because of the heat of the lemon curd. That's pretty good. Now, you bring this over here, pour it in. You can pretty much pour it all in at one time. That's going to be fine. And you will, normally, if you're making just the one batch with the 8, you're going to have extra lemon curd left over, which is okay, because, a little extra lemon curd never hurt anybody. So what I do, I just, you're not really trying to mash this so much as just clear the zest, however you did it, whether you did it my method or using a microplane, just kind of get it out of the way. But I can tell you, when you slice it like I did, peel it and then slice it, this sifts super easy. When I've done it with a microplane, it takes a lot longer. You're standing here a lot longer doing this. And just kind of wipe the bottom because there is going to be extra curd down there. Now you're going to take these and you're just going to fill your pans. And again, do keep in mind that this is just cooking. It's, if things go right, things go wrong, it's not the end of the world. You'll learn like, hey, a little piece of lemon zest just went in there. That's okay. Nobody's going to die from that. And if it's really driving you crazy, you can pull it out of there. And as promised, we're going to take some of these Keebler ones. You have your own, you can make your own. And for somebody who just absolutely does not want to try a gluten-free crust, we're going to make some for them. Yes, I see that little piece of lemon hanging in there. This is another thing I like. It's big enough that I can get it out of there. I can hold it back. And I'm just going to put them right on the shelf